You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Carol. And just listening to your stories all over again, I knew most of the stories already, but I'll tell you, it just gave me a shot in the arm just listening to it all over again and the passion that went with it. And when I think of Wanda, 48, marrying somebody 84, I tell you, you must have been the juice plus for your husband. And you certainly answered
So he tells people that
his longing. That's just a fabulous, fabulous story. I enjoyed that so much. But I'm picking up where Cheryl Cortese wanted me to pick up. And she had asked all of us to read this particular book. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. How many of you heard Donald Miller speak at the conference? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, great. Okay, so you know where I'm coming from, most of you. If not, by the end of this half hour, I hope you will end up getting this book. Oh, good, Joyce, you're showing the book. How many of you have it with you right on your desk right now? Hold it up. Great. I'll tell you, I have been very excited about this book because long time ago, I knew that our attention span was about 5 seconds long with just about anything, especially in today's world. And he brings that out. 5 seconds, you have somebody to grab their attention where they want to hear more, where they're saying, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And we had how many? 42 people on tonight listening to stories where we were saying, tell me more, tell me more. And that's because every single one of you presented a very important factor, and that was you had a problem. And you really were desperate to have it fixed. And every single one of us have a problem, but we don't always know how to say it, or we take maybe 40 minutes to tell it, or hours and hours, or even 10 minutes to tell it, when all we have is maybe 2 minutes, or maybe just 10 seconds to get somebody's attention. And what, excuse me, what Donald Miller talks about is clarifying our message so that customers will listen. And he grabbed my attention straight away at the very beginning, where he said, your customer, this is in the introduction, your customer should be the hero of the story, not your brand. You need to write that down and put it on a Post-it note to remind you that it's your customer that is the hero of the story, not Juice Plus, not the product, not corporate, not the scientific studies. Now that really got my attention. And I would love to hear, before we talk further on that, why you think that is true. Why is it that the customer is the hero? Unmute yourself if you have something to share on that, especially if you've read the book, because it's just the first 3 chapters that we were supposed to read for tonight. Okay, Carla?
Because the hero of the story starts out very weak and then grows stronger as he finds a guide. So the customer has to be the hero because they have a problem and they're on a journey.
Now, is the customer always weak? Wanda?
No, I was thinking that the customer is the main attraction. All of the focus should be on them because we're building off of them. Our response is being built from paying attention to them. So they're our heroes.
And so I think, Carla, what you were saying, I agree, Wanda. And so would he. I think, Carla, what you're saying is that the weak area is the part where the problem is, right? Is that what you're saying? Do you want to elaborate more on that, Carla? Did somebody else? Because I think it's a good point. It's a very important point. Somebody else want to elaborate on that? No? All right. So let's pick up on that. The customer should be the hero of the story, not the brand. And what he does is he helps you to understand how to shift where, see, we think our story is the most important thing in our life. It has meant survival. I just listened to your stories and you have survived one thing after another. And it just fills me with awe. And it sometimes just sends chills down me to think, wow, whoa. Oh, I wish so-and-so could hear Debbie's story or Jennifer's story. And you immediately begin to relate to it because it is a powerful story, but many of the stories.
I'm not gonna bother you tonight other than to put my leggings on.
Okay, I think she's muted. Thank you. So what he's doing is he says, all right, you all have important stories, but the important thing is to get across that the customer is the most important part, because you need to understand what their problem is so that you know how your product can help them. You see, our product can help in so many different ways, but you don't know what way they need help in at all. It could be any number of cases. So as we go through, he begins talking about the story brand framework. And at first, when I saw that SB7, I thought, how am I going to even remember 7 things? I can remember about 3 things. And I hope I remember those 3 things. How am I going to remember 7? And what I loved about this book was that he put it in an understandable way, where I said, oh, of course. So I want to hear from you what you got out of, first of all, the very first chapter, the key to being seen and heard and understood. So what did you take away from that first chapter? It's a whole communication framework. Speak up. Carla, you're jumping. Do you want to say it again? Do you want to give your thoughts on it? No, you don't. Well, let me tell you then something that really stood out to me, and let me get your reaction. The reality is we aren't just in a race to get our products to market. We're also in a race to communicate why our customers need those products in their lives, all right? So what's your message? Can you say it easily? See, what he's doing, the writer is, he's wanting to whet your appetite to want what he wants to tell you. So he's essentially doing exactly, he is selling a product right here. So he is presenting a problem right in that first chapter. He's presenting a problem, and he's hoping that maybe you're going to say, oh yeah, this is my problem too. And maybe he's going to come in as the one to help us with the problem. So what he does is he tells you, what's your message? Can you say it easily? How many of you can say it easily in one sentence? How many of you can say it so that it's relevant? Or so that it's simple? Or so that it's repeatable, so that it can be duplicatable? This is the genius of this book, because if you have somebody's ear long enough, I think you could probably do all of those things. But how to do it quickly in today's market, in today's short attention span, is what we need help in. And so can your entire team repeat your company's message? Well, we all hope it can. We do. But as he goes on, he talks about the mistakes that we make and the fact that our brains shut out things that are not relevant to us. So if you lose that person in the first few seconds of their story, you may not get them back again. And so what he's trying to do is to help us to fine tune our story. Those of you who are on my team, I think get tired of me saying, I want to hear a 30-second story, or I want to hear a 1-minute story. And no, I want it on the email. I want to see it in writing so that we can talk about it. Well, listen, that's scary. That really is scary. And so the beauty about this book is that he's showing you how you, in the privacy of your own thinking, if you're really willing to work hard at it, you can fine tune and get your story down to where somebody's going to say, tell me more. I need to hear this more. I need to hear it more. And so he's giving you a formula, but he tells you, first of all, a problem. And that is the mistakes that we make. And that is the first mistake brands make is they fail to focus on the aspects of what will help people to survive. What will help them to survive? And then he talks about on page 7, all great stories are about survival, every single one. I mean, don't we love to hear how a situation comes in and, oh no, they're going to be wiped out. And it's either physical or emotional needs or relational or spiritual. He divides it into those 4 different areas. But essentially, I'm going to give a quote here. This means that if we position our products and our services as anything but an aid in helping people to survive, to thrive, to be accepted, to find love, to achieve an aspirational identity, or bond with a tribe that will defend them physically and socially, good luck selling anything to anybody. So do you realize why Jay Martin says this is a relationship business? It has to do with what our needs are spiritually, mentally, physically, relationally, because we are human beings. We are created in the image of God, and we're meant to need one another and to love one another because God is love. And you can feel it. Somebody can say something in a crazy way, but boy, if you feel that love coming through, you sure understand them, don't you? It doesn't have to be a polished speech. You just need to really believe in what you're saying, and it needs to be coming from your heart, but you need to be connecting with what their need is, and that's what he's all about. And then he talks about the noise and the clamor. But the beautiful thing about it is that he wants to bring clarity to our message. So he brings it down on page 11. Does anybody want to talk about the clarity? How many of you have read these first 3 chapters? Let me ask you. Okay, Bonnie Spillers, I'm going to call on you. Unmute yourself, please, Bonnie. You always have something good to say. All right, tell me what that first chapter meant to you as far as clarity.
Well, really, I'm surprised I'm as far along as I am with as much as I say and talk. I mean, I think I am listening to my prospect or to my prospective customer or team member, but we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a purpose, and this is not easy to learn, especially if we've done it one way for so long and have had a measure of success. But why not fine tune our skills and become better for them, better for that next hero that we meet?
I remember when somebody in my upline, Nancy Crouch, who some of you will remember, had us do a simple little thing called FORM, FORM. And she did this, and I'm wanting to say ad nausea, except it really wasn't nauseating because it involved the stories of people that we loved.
Mhm.
But she said it again and again and again until I finally got it. It took me a while. Like Bonnie says, it's hard because our stories feel so important that we don't have time to listen to somebody else's. And somebody has said, you talk maybe 10% of the time, but let them talk 90% of the time. Well, how are you going to do that? By asking them questions, right? So Nancy Crouch used to say, use the little word form, F for family, O for occupation, R for recreation, and then M for the message that you might have to answer some of the problems that they have brought up. And if you're listening carefully to find out all about their family, and then about what they do to work, and then about the fact that they don't have any time to have any recreation, or what do they like to do, somewhere in there in those 3 things, you're going to find out something about a problem. And this is with people that you know well, or that you don't know at all. And so it works for people who talk too much, like me.
Me.
But I think we're the only 2 on this whole group that do.
Oh,
But it works well with people who are shy because it gives them a framework, a formula, which is what he's talking about in this book. He gives you a formula that helps you stay on a clear path and helps you reduce what we say, not just reduce it, but put more clarity and meaning into those few words that we give, so that that 10% is rich and is focused. And then we allow the others to talk more. And then you finally get to the M where you say, oh, this is a person who doesn't care anything about money. They have plenty of money, but they wanted meaning in their life. Oh, does Juice Plus have a place for them? Wow. We generally think of somebody just needing to pay a house payment or to put food on the table. No, there are some people who can do that at the drop of a hat. They have no problem at all doing that. What they don't have is real meaning in their life. Does Juice Plus have a place for that? Well, what happens is what he's bringing out in this book is how you can bring out those different aspects to meet the needs of all the different kinds of people that you're going to meet every day. So what he does is he brings out on page 11, he says, everybody wants to know who the hero is. Now, what did we say who the hero is? It's your customer, right?
right.
It's your customer, not you. And not the fact that you nearly died. Not the fact that you had diabetes and didn't know what you were going to do now that you couldn't eat certain things. It really, this is a game changer if we really understand that it's the customer who is the hero. But then there's a problem that comes, and the customer who is the hero has a problem that needs to be solved. Are you going to be the guide that helps them guide them to an answer? So who is the hero? What does the hero want? Who the hero has to defeat? Is it diabetes? Is it cancer? Is it a divorce? Is it a disability? Is it a disaster? Has their home just burned down? What does the hero have to defeat where it grabs your heart? What tragic thing will happen if the hero doesn't win? And what wonderful thing will happen if the hero does win? So all of this has to do with a great story. And it's something so basic that every human being responds to. So this is what he's opening up to all of this. And then he talks about how story makes music out of noise. On page 16, story makes music out of noise. It takes away all the notes that are not necessary and just fine tunes it. And so with his formula, and what he does is he whets your appetite in these first 3 chapters. He whets your appetite for what he's going to tell you later on. So essentially, he's doing the very thing. He's saying, do you have a problem selling to a customer Juice Plus? Juice Plus may be the very best thing on the market. But if you don't present it in a way that answers a problem that your hero has, they'll go to something else. They will. And so what he's doing is he's helping you to reduce the noise, bring it into music, and then showing you exactly what a story is. And here are the 7 steps that he's going to outline in the rest of the book. And I'm going to give you these 7 steps. The story in a nutshell. Here is nearly every story you see or hear in a nutshell. Every movie, every play, every book, every family. This is what makes up a story. These are the ingredients. First of all, a character who wants something, who encounters a problem. There are your first 2. It's a character who has a problem. Then at the peak of their despair, a guide steps into their lives. That's your 3rd. So your guide comes in. And what does the guide do? He doesn't say, oh, well, this is what helped me. Maybe this will help you. No, This is where this book really helps you to come up with a plan. A short plan that enables you to actually visualize it, something that you can do. So here, your first thing is that you've got a character who has a problem, who needs a guide, who's going to step into their lives and give them a plan. And if that's all that was necessary, you still wouldn't sell your product because you have to call them to action. That's the next thing, action. That action helps them to avoid failure or success. So that's really it. In that structure of a story, and what he's going to help you do is to take those 7 things and to formulate so that he'll start with 3 crucial questions. What does your hero want? Who or what is opposing the hero getting what she wants? And what will the hero's life look like if she does or does not get what she wants? It's so utterly basic. it has drama, it has suspense, and it either ends in tragedy or it ends in fantastic victory. And our stories all tonight end in victory, right? The thing is, what we need are more customers. What we need to do is to get the word out to more people who can take advantage of this incredible product that Jay Martin has put into our hands as such a gift. And you and I are there to be that guide, not the hero. We're to guide them. But we have to find out where they want to go. So this is where this book is so invaluable. If you don't have it, get it. You can get it secondhand on Amazon. You can buy it brand new. You can mark it up and in red like I've done. But you can use it. You can use it to develop your story, to focus, to bring clarity into your thinking. You may be very, very clear on what it does for you, but your customer is not clear. You've got to be that guide to make it clear. So I think that's all we have time for tonight, Carol. And I would just highly recommend that you get this book and that you shut the phone off, close the door, maybe soak in a bubble bath while you sit and just soak in this and take it in and let it feed you. That's it. And thank you for listening. Okay, Carol, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Arlita. That was awesome. I wasn't on last week. I was on vacation, so I'm ordering that book tonight, but thank you very much. We appreciate you doing the training.
How I need to stop the recording.
I got you.
You got it?
Yep, all good.
Okay.